All right. Thank you so much for joining us for our final event of our 2024 Fulbright Week. Today, we are hosting our Fulbright 101 information session. This is a good fit for anybody who is even a little curious about Fulbright and the opportunities available to you. So we are going to spend some time talking about the award in pretty good depth, and then we will cover how Rutgers-Camden's process works, and the supports that are available for you. So we will kick off with a quick introduction to our team. So my name is Laura Collins. I am the Director for the Office of Scholar Development and Fellowship Advising here at Rutgers-Camden, and I currently serve as the Fulbright Program Advisor for the U.S. Student Fulbright Program.
Hello, my name is Jordan Myers. I am the Program Coordinator for OSDFA, and I am very excited to be able to help all of you through the process this year.
Awesome. So while I have been advising for the Fulbright U.S. Student Program for about 7 years now, this is Jordan's first year with the program, though she has dove right in with learning as much as she can, not only about this award, but other international programs that are also under the umbrella of the U.S. Department of State. So she's very experienced with the Gilman Scholars Program, with CLS, and a lot of those programs are wonderful feeders and pipelines to the Fulbright. So Jordan's going to be a great addition to the team for this year. So here in OSDFA, we very intentionally named our office Scholar Development and Fellowship Advising. And that really, we divide that up into two categories, although they are sort of a feedback loop for one another. Essentially, as Scholar Development, we are here to help our students wherever they are on their path in really thinking about what their goals are long-term, and also while they're here at Rutgers-Camden. And then we take that information, and to the best of our ability, we try to match you with a funded award opportunity that will help you get closer to achieving those goals. All of the awards that we support are external and transformative. And so this is a good example of the types of awards that we support. This list is not exhaustive, and certainly does not capture all the different opportunities that are available kind of under that large fellowships umbrella. However, as the interest in our office grows, we continue to sort of prioritize the awards that have been really popular among our students, awards that are a good fit for, the interests of our campus, the mission that we have as a university, where our students are seeing successes. And then we also capture awards that require the support of an institution, whether that's through an endorsement letter, or a nomination process. And so certainly these are the awards that maybe are the most fun for us to work on, like the Fulbright, or that, again, we've had the most luck with, but we welcome our students to kind of consider these opportunities among others as well. Okay, so for today, we are going to be focused on the Fulbright U.S. Student Award. And so these next several slides will really just break down the award in total, and then we'll get to how Rutgers-Camden can help you to apply. So a little history about the Fulbright and some key takeaways. Most importantly, for individuals who are brand new to learning about the Fulbright, most important thing for them to know is that this is an award that fosters mutual understanding between cultures. So you, as a U.S. citizen, would be applying to a program in one of more than 140 different countries across the globe. And it's an opportunity for you to delve in to getting to know the people and the traditions of that nation, and to being a U.S. representative and sharing a bit about our culture. One of the key pillars of the Fulbright U.S. Student Program is diversity and inclusion, and to selecting a pool of applicants who represent the diversity of the United States and who will, in fact, be good ambassadors abroad. And to that end, knowing that individuals from the United States come from all different backgrounds, Fulbright alumni associations have been forming a number of different affiliate groups, and you can see some of those represented by images on the screen below. And so when you are traveling abroad, you will have resources and support from some of these different Fulbright groups who support, Black Fulbright scholars abroad, LGBT Fulbright scholars abroad, and you have a network of people who have maybe traveled to those countries before and who have some good tips and resources as you're thinking about your experience in another country. Okay, so some basic eligibility, and I think sometimes this can be quite surprising. So by the time that you would begin your award, you would need to have a bachelor's degree in hand. So oftentimes we are targeting current juniors because right now it is the spring semester. And although the award is due in the fall, you wouldn't begin to take part in your Fulbright year until for this cycle 2025 2026. So in many cases folks aren't leaving until the fall after graduation if you are in fact at that stage. That said, you're eligible for a Fulbright anytime up until the point in which you hold a PhD in hand. So for current doctoral students, that means you can apply as long as you won't earn your doctoral degree by October of this coming year. And so this is a really good fit for people at lots of different stages. So if you're a current undergraduate and thinking about applying, this is a great time if you're a junior or a senior. But of course, if you're younger than that, this is a good kind of, earmark, learn about it and plan ahead. Our recent graduates, and of course, those are our alumni. They are still eligible, again, as long as they don't have their PhD at the time of application. And our current graduate students, all of whom are a really good fit for the Fulbright. You'll notice that we did not say anything about GPA requirements or major background or, certain degrees, other than those that would keep you excluded. This award is open to people from all different areas of interest, and again, no GPA requirement. So I think that always is a little bit surprising, given that Fulbright is perceived to be very prestigious, very competitive. But the facts actually are that about 1 in 5 students will receive a Fulbright, so a 20% chance of being named a Fulbright scholar. And the key variables that they're looking for are really about those mission statement things. So things like your interest in mutual cultural exchange. Okay, so Fulbright U.S. student program typically is considered under 2 main application areas. They have the study research grant, which is essentially 2 in 1. So open study would typically refer to students who are going to pursue a graduate degree in another country. And research is what it sounds like, where you would propose an independent research project to conduct while you are abroad. The English teaching assistantship is the other main umbrella for the Fulbright U.S. student program. And fun fact, you don't have to be a teacher, you don't have to want to be a teacher to plan to go abroad and apply for an ETA. Requirements will vary by country, as they do for all awards, but in many cases, they're not necessarily looking for teaching experience, but evidence of qualifications that would resonate with teaching, with being a good U.S. representative, with being engaging in a classroom, and then connecting those to your long-term goals. This image just helps kind of break that down a little bit further. And so you can see, all the different sort of avenues for a study research grant. So of course you can earn a degree. You can engage in an independent project, which may or may not be related to your course of study here in the U.S. So if you are a current graduate student, you may use your Fulbright time to continue some work that you've begun here, to look at it from an interdisciplinary international lens, and then report back for maybe your dissertation. But certainly that's not a requirement. You can also take coursework while you're abroad, even without pursuing a master's degree or a graduate degree. And then of course, under the English teaching, your primary role between 20 to 30 hours a week on average will be to be an instructor in a classroom in another country, and also to engage in community activity as part of that mutual cultural understanding. All Fulbright awards have a component of that, but the English teaching assistantship really leaves some time and space for you to explore those. Yet again, just sort of breaking this down a little bit further, lots of questions about kind of finding the right award fit for you. And so this maybe can help our applicants who are sort of torn between two areas or sort of imagining how Fulbright might fit into their goals and their interests a little bit further. So of course, for our researchers, you have the opportunity to kind of use this work to contribute to your degrees. You might have the chance to pursue a course or courses at another institution that may sort of contribute to, again, to the long-term goals that you have, or maybe the work you're doing here in the US. There are opportunities to be engaged in internships on an international scale. And then there's a number of different supplemental awards that you can explore to really enhance your Fulbright experience. Okay, so everybody always wants to know a little bit about the application. And so you can see here some basic information about what the application will look like when you open it up. For reference, in this current year, the application is going to open on Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024. And that's generally late March, early April, when you can expect the award to open each year. And generally, the application is due the first Tuesday of every October. So this year it's Tuesday, October 8th. We're going to get to that. One of the things I think that our students sometimes hesitate to do is to actually open the application, right? They think that they're committing to something. And so you are welcome and encouraged to open the application when it becomes available to just get a look at what the components are and what it's going to require of you. At this point, time is on your side, so get familiar with those pieces. And then Jordan and I are here to kind of walk you through that process. So you can see some basic background information about yourself and your plans for the program. Additionally, there's a couple of very short essays, 750 words or less, where you'll talk a little bit about how you would engage with the country. We had a session recently where some of our current finalists talked about what they had proposed, including things like enjoying the local cuisine, attending music festivals, all kinds of things. So really, this is a place for your personality to shine. Your plans upon return to the US is another short essay that would be required. And this is where you can really think about how the Fulbright year and experience would really elevate you for what you hope to do long term. There are two primary essays as part of the Fulbright application. The first is your study or statement of grant purpose. And this, if you are a research applicant, is a 2-page document. If you are an ETA, it is a 1-page document. And on the Fulbright website, you'll see kind of the components that they're looking for in these two documents. But essentially, this is what is it you want to do there while you're away, and really kind of shining through on your skill set and your particular plans for carrying out your proposal. The second document is a personal statement, which I think lots of folks are, familiar with the terminology. They have written some version of a personal statement in the past. I will say that for Fulbright in particular, for fellowships generally, writing a personal statement for these types of awards can be a quite different experience. Jordan just led students through a personal statement workshop and has tons of wonderful resources to really help you tell your story and show up as your authentic self. And really, that's about one of the key things in succeeding in these awards is really letting your personality shine through and matching your values with the values of the award that you're applying for. So it is, I won't lie, can be a really, difficult process to work through these statements. But for Jordan and I, it's probably one of the most fun. We really get to see who you are and watch you evolve in your writing. And all of our applicants tell us that they are able to use these for future awards, for future applications to grad schools, and so many other things. And so it's really tremendous practice. Transcripts, that's another big part of the application process and can be kind of a sticky one. So although official transcripts are not required, here at Rutgers University Camden, we do recommend that you make a request for an official transcript, because on the unofficial, you do not see our campus's name, our university name. So it'll say like your college, but it won't give enough information. And so for that reason, we always recommend that you do in fact request an official. And students are promised 2 free official transcripts each year, and those years run until August 31st, and then they turn over on September 1st. And so, we can work with you on that timeline and what makes sense for you to make that request. Especially if you've already used your 2 free ones, you can wait and use them in September. And if any of our alumni are interested in that, receiving a transcript, we can also help you with that. If you are applying to a country in which, English is not the primary spoken language, you may be required to submit an evaluation. And so we can also help you kind of coordinate from whom you will get your evaluation, especially if it's a language that is not readily available here at Rutgers-Camden. We'll kind of navigate that with you. And in all cases, you'll need 3 references. For the study research programs, you do need letters of recommendation. You may also need a letter of affiliation to the country that you're planning to apply for. And in the case of an ETA, you need 3 folks who are willing to complete an evaluation form. So it's a little bit less burdensome. And again, as you navigate these components, Jordan and I are here to kind of walk through it with you from beginning to end. Okay, so we've already sort of outlined some of the things that are not going to be considered for a Fulbright application, like your GPA, like your major, whether or not you have many degrees or just your bachelor's degree, all of those things. So there are a few Fulbright F words, if that's appropriate, that are common. One of which is Fulbright feasibility. You see that right up front. I hope you didn't think I was going somewhere different with that. So Fulbright feasibility, they want you to make a proposal, whether that's for your research, grad degree, or an ETA, that really is doable. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You do not have to go there and solve a world problem. You want to think about something that, makes sense to you, that you'll enjoy, that you think is achievable in the time that you're going to be away. You're not going to have years to solve those world problems. You're there for 8 months, 9 months, 10 months. And so what can you accomplish in that amount of time? And with the resources that you'll have as a foreigner abroad, really thinking about what's doable for you. If you were interested, the other F word I was thinking of is Fulbright flexibility, because in a lot of cases, especially if you're an ETA, you don't know where you might end up in the country, whether you'll be in a rural environment or a more urban environment, if you're working with 3rd graders or college students. So demonstrating that you're somebody who's very adaptable and very flexible in a lot of unknown situations is really key. So those are the Fulbright F words. So some other things that they will be evaluating on, they are looking at your record of achievements. And again, while GPA is not a factor in consideration, they're going to be looking for a story. So that's something Jordan and I spend a lot of time talking to students about is, if you are still planning your classes for next year, and we can help maybe make some suggestions that might contribute to this type of story you're trying to tell on your transcript. That's one avenue. Making sure that you have certain activities. So if you are thinking about an ETA, maybe there's a chance to get involved with a mentorship program this summer so that you can talk a little bit about that. So it's really just thinking about the story and how you present yourself. If you're saying that you are, learning a language, demonstrating that, right? Maybe it's through a class formally, or maybe you can start the preparation. Don't wait until, the Fulbright is potentially yours to begin language study, right? So take advantage of time being on your side again. Some personal factors, right? So you'll have many opportunities throughout the application to really, shine a light on the accomplishments you've had in all different domains in your life, and really what makes you stand out as unique from all the other people that they're going to be reading applications from. Yeah, thinking about, will you make a good Fulbright representative? So not only are you, internationally representing the United States, but when you come back, you'll be a Fulbright alumni. And so how are you going to use that badge proudly to support other students who are maybe considering this path for themselves, and to really proudly represent the Fulbright program? So those are some of the things that would be considered. I mentioned that folks might be at various points in their own journey. So for some of you that you may be considering applying for this award right now this year, awesome, we're so excited. But for some of you, you might be planning ahead. And so these are some tips that might help you as you make those plans. If you've never had the opportunity to study abroad, we would really encourage you to have an international experience so that you can speak to, your flexibility, your adaptability, to navigate, new and unfamiliar situations. Those are going to be really key factors when you're putting together your Fulbright application. If you're worried about the length of time or cost of those things, again, Jordan and I can kind of support you with thinking about maybe other awards that might be good tiptoe experiences toward preparing for a Fulbright. And those include things like a Gilman, the Boren Scholarship, CLS, and so many others. So those would be, some things to kind of keep in the back of your mind. Really getting involved in whatever way that looks best for you. So in some cases, maybe it's doing undergraduate or graduate level research, presenting at conferences, kind of putting yourself out there really to show, what your interests are. Teaching like opportunities is highlighted here because, again, there's no expectation that you are a teacher, want to be a teacher long term. Of course, if you do, that's wonderful. But, we have folks who've been finalists and accepted for ETA awards who, one of our Fulbright recipients is a librarian. And so has no desire to be a teacher, but sees her role in the library as one of an educator. And educators appear in lots of different spaces. We have a government official who wants to, share about the United States in classrooms abroad. So there's so many different ways that you can kind of take that spin and just really think about mentorship, engaging with others in really meaningful ways, including, outside of the Rutgers-Camden community. Sustained activities are a really big thing. So for folks that, have long been involved with their religious organizations or community groups, and sometimes they feel like pressure, oh, I need to get involved on campus and I need to, give those things up. That's not true. Those sustained and long-term activities and the things that you care deeply about, that's going to resonate. So definitely stick with the things that, you love, make time for the things you love. Okay. Just a bit more information about these different award types, and sort of thinking about timelines and what might be required to be a good fit for these particular awards, right? So under the ETA, you can see some of the personal attributes that they're going to be looking for on a general scale. Every award by country is going to look just a little bit different. So it's really important that you start to kind of explore, what those can look like for you. But generally speaking, being adaptable and flexible, having some degree of community engagement, an interest in kind of collaboration and diversity initiatives, being a forward thinker, all of those things are going to be really important. And then that's true whether that's an ETA or a study research award. Those are the personal qualifications and the unique attributes of you as an individual that Fulbright is really going to be focusing in on. Okay. So folks are always interested in, how well funded a Fulbright award is. And I'm happy to report that beginning with this new application cycle, there's going to be a greater degree of transparency in those award descriptions. So based on historical awards, they'll be able to include details about what the anticipated stipends and full financial benefits of a Fulbright will be. So in most cases, you can see that your airfare, living expenses and things are covered, but in some cases, housing may not be, or you may be living in a community housing environment. And so those things can vary tremendously by country, by award type. And so it's just important to kind of keep those things in mind. I will say another highlight that's on the screen here is that all ETA recipients are giving TESOL training, and they get certification at the end of that by having completed a minimum number of hours. So long-term, that's a credential that will stay with you. On the other side of your Fulbright, there are many benefits, and for anyone who has participated in one of those other U.S. Department of State award opportunities, like a Gilman, you will know that the non-competitive eligibility is a big factor. Just having these awards, especially if you are either a finalist or a recipient on your resume, really helps you stand out in the competition for government positions and other jobs, really. Fulbright is known, as are many of those other awards that we've named today. A little sense of timeline. So we are just about to partake in the official launch of the new 2025-2026 application cycle. This will be opening up next week for students who are ready to kind of jump in. And then we will be beginning our meetings with students one-on-one in the month of May, April through May, I should say. And then throughout the summer, Jordan and I will be hosting a series of group meetings for all of our Fulbright applicants, lots of group activities, virtually as well as in person, and chances to really reflect and work on your personal statement of purpose, networking. We've got a ton of online resources to share with our groups, including our own Canvas page, which will become available next week. We're so excited. We've got tons of good resources. Jordan has been pouring her heart and soul into that, so we're really excited to share that with everyone. Each year, we have a campus deadline of about August 30th. And deadlines I know are scary for folks. And the reason we have this process in place, as you hopefully can see, we have our applicants work all summer right with us to prepare their applications. And then at the end of the summer, we ask you to give us a draft of that. At that time, we give that to our campus committee for their review and their feedback. I want to be very, very clear that we endorse everyone who wants to apply. So there is no process of weeding people out. We do not create barriers to successfully applying for this award. We are only here to offer you support. And we have found that by creating that campus deadline, and you may hear from people who've applied with us before that start early, don't wait till the end. And that's one of the reasons why we instituted a deadline. Now, that said, if you are having a hard time meeting that deadline, please don't be afraid to talk to Jordan or I, and we'll figure out how we can best support you moving forward. We've done it every year, but to the degree that you're able to, having the campus deadline is a really good goal to work toward, and then you will receive the full support of our campus committee. They will do 2 application reviews with you, and you have dedicated members of that committee who serve as your mentors. So you get a lot of personal, a lot of hands-on attention to really finish and polish up your application ahead of that October deadline. So that's why we have that in place. And then to give you a sense of what happens after you hit submit, you wait a lot. So between the months of November and December, that's when your application is being reviewed on the US side by the national screening committees, of which Jordan and I have both had opportunities to kind of observe, though we are not readers for the applications. And then in January, you will hear if you are a semifinalist. At that point, that means that your application is being moved to in-country review. And between the months of March and May, typically, you will begin to hear if you are a finalist or an alternate for the country that you've applied to. And so that's where we are currently, just waiting and waiting. Okay, so if you are thinking of applying with the support of Rutgers Camden, we have a few steps for you. So first step is that we have an interest form generally that you can fill out, tell us a little bit about who you are and what your goals are very broadly. And this also helps if you're, contemplating applying for awards that aren't Fulbright. More specifically, we've created an intent to apply form for the Fulbright that'll ask you some really targeted questions about your award, in which all questions have the option of saying, I'm not sure yet, so don't feel any pressure. But if you're thinking about, a study research award versus an ETA, have you thought about what country you might want to go to or a region of the world? It's just meant to kind of get your, thinking in the direction of the application. Then you'll be invited to have a one-on-one meeting with either myself or Jordan just to kind of talk through your interests and, help you settle on some of those decisions if you haven't yet made them. Really read through the country description and make sure you feel comfortable with the requirements that are being asked of you and the profile of the candidates that they're looking for and seeing whether that's a good match and figuring out how we're going to help highlight, your strengths in accordance with that description. And then throughout the summer, we will be providing a series of workshops, webinars, all kinds of activity to really help support your growth in working through your application. And we might institute a few checkpoints where we ask you to, share with us a copy of your personal statement by this time. Share with us a copy of your statement of grant purpose. Who's writing your letters of recommendation? Have you thought about your affiliate? All the things that we don't want to creep up on you at the end. So throughout the summer, you'll be hearing from us with some gentle reminders of things that are really important to your timeline. And then we have our deadline. And again, that's where it's not being submitted to Fulbright by any means. We are taking what you've completed to that point, and we're sharing that with our campus committee to offer you the fullest support available. And then you'll have the opportunity to meet with the campus committee at 2 different points throughout the month of September to have an initial review, get some feedback, make some revisions, and then get kind of a final look over from the committee. And then Jordan and I will be available in that first week of October to offer you any of our final remarks before you hit submit. So the best way to get in touch with us is scanning our interest form essentially generates a message to us, and then we respond to that right away to say, hey, we're ready to connect with you. We are both also available on Raptor Connect or Navigate, depending on which you're more familiar with. Jordan and I are in side-by-side offices in Armitage Hall within the class suite, which is located on the 2nd floor, left of the elevators. And we're also very active on social media. Hopefully you've been following along with our Fulbright Week all this week, and we'll be posting continued updates as well. We also encourage you to stay in touch with Fulbright. While there's so many things that we can tell you about, applying specifically from Rutgers-Camden, Fulbright, there's no need for us to reinvent the wheel. They have tons and tons and tons of excellent resources on their website. They've got videos. They've explored and answered all of these questions before. And so there's a lot that you can learn just by spending time exploring their website, their social media platforms. And I've alluded to it, but if you missed our most recent event with our Fulbright finalists, we do have a recording available, which will be a part of our Canvas page, and we will also be happy to share that out with anybody upon request. And I've also mentioned that stay tuned. Beginning next week, our Canvas site will be live. And while we have a complete, very robust module dedicated to the Fulbright U.S. student program specifically, we will be featuring other awards that we prioritize in other modules. So it's a good chance for you to really get a sense overall of what OSDFA is all about and how we support our students and how we plan to walk you through these applications. So as noted, we hope that you will complete the interest form and follow us on our social media platforms. And we thank you so much for your time and attention today, and we can't wait to work with you soon.